Hi, thanks for joining me on this video. Um, so I'm starting this channel. I wouldn't even call it a channel. I don't want to call it a channel. I'd rather just call it like a vlog. What I'm interested in doing with this is basically just documenting for posterity's sake my experience. And I'm way more comfortable orating my ideas and my thoughts in this manner, I believe, versus writing or these are the formats. I don't know. I don't. I the only thing that concerns me is like I have this whole thing about the Library of Alexandria. I mean, and I'm concerned about like the digital format of things being that power is a necessity. But then, okay, off the whole Doomer vibe. So optimistic, right? So, the Beyond Truman. Why Beyond Truman? Because it's my experience is based from a conscious and spiritual perspective, Truman Show kind of vibes, right? And right now, if I could have like literally, the idea initially was if I could have hooked up cameras to like every aspect of my life and just relate my experience to the void. It's like the digital internet, like it's just the void. Whether you social media, YouTube, whatever, it's like you send that shit out there to the void, right? I don't have no expectations of this. I don't expect to see it grow or anything. But on the other hand, also, it's also an experiment. Everything I do is sort of like experiment. We'll get into all of that if you stick around with me, as we go. I'm like kind of way out there, like like neurodivergent, if you want to call it that kind of. So we'll explore lots of ideas. So that's why the name. But the initial idea again was to document my transition from my current state to wherever I'm allowing life to take me, because this is the choice I'm making right now, right? And this video will be pivotal in that, because it'll be like one of those like go back and look at this moment, like where this all started, where that decision, that why, I mean, like the pitch in the road, and you chose to go one way versus the other kind of thing. And again, like there's so many subtopics like I'd love to touch, and I will organize this, but this is pretty crude. This is just me jumping on, getting it started, taking that first step. um, I'm doing this off my like mobile phone. It's a Note 20 or 21 or 22 Ultra. I've like literally lost track. I'm so disconnected from a lot of aspects of society also. So that's a big thing about it too. But the idea was to document the transition from I'm kind of comfortable, but I could be way better off in my life. I live downtown Toronto. I'm a single dad with a 2-bedroom basement apartment in downtown Toronto. The price of real estate and rental is through the roof. It's stupid. Cost of living down there is like shit. So that's a big aspect. I want to kind of get that out of the way so I could pursue so many other spiritual endeavors. But I'm like employed full-time job, really well paid and everything. Well, I'm gonna say really well paid is a struggle still, right? But then, um, but again, like I said, I could do better. And a big part of things through my spiritual experience. Now, I believe I've come across or I've managed to get in touch with an aspect of reality or an aspect of yourself. I believe two fundamental principles of reality being all is mind and all is energy. And I believe I've been able to get in touch with what some throughout time have called the secret, which is basically a harmonizing of one's self, mind, body, and spirit consciousness to source reality and consciousness itself, right? And it responds in the sense that it becomes almost, among other things, a guide. Like reality basically speaking to you, you and reality speaking back and forth. And we'll get into all of that also. But I just feel this like nagging push to document this, and I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna be like just showcasing my spiritual growth as I go, my interaction with source, how I define it, how I explain it, some new pursuits and challenges I want to take up as embarking on this like new aspect of life. I once thought that it would just be my spiritual journey would just encompass like physical and the spiritual aspect of things, but lately I've also come to find that the material aspect plays a significant role, as financial freedom is a really big part of like disconnecting and plugging from the whole matrix system kind of thing, right? And I'll also down the line I'll get into the whole matrix perspective from my perspective. And also I want to like just let me preface by saying that all of this is purely um subjective, and it's all like only my perspective on things, right? So again, I won't be like forcing anybody. It's not like no guru shit. I'll tell you like, oh, you have to do this. But I would love to see and look back in like a year or a year and a half or 2 years and see, yo, look at this first video. Like, look where it started. This came from there, and um I have a couple ventures I want to pursue and showcase the growth in those also. Not I won't say ventures. I'm just like exploring some of the things that I want to do, and I've just like been putting aside for so long, just caught up in the rat race and the 9 to 5. Come from work, you're too tired, you don't want to do nothing. It's just like shit ton of apathy, right? And documenting all of this and the transition and speaking about it, like I said early on, something about the whole Library of Alec, I just feel like obligated or obliged, you just feel nudged or pushed to at least leave your record, leave your mark on the void kind of thing. Like, what was your experience like when you really start going deep into spiritual work and you start unmasking yourself, and you kind of really start finding out who you really are? Excuse me. You tend to like it takes you to borderline insane. So like a lot of shit, like, though some people will understand, right? But those extreme fringe experiences, I see those as pivotal to expanding the experience of the collective consciousness as a whole. I initially got introduced to the concept of the Akashic records as being an infinite and all-knowing repository of knowledge. But I lately, through some experiences, will also get into those. I probably should be making sub notes on a lot of these little ideas as they come up as topics for videos. But trust me, I'm like, we have topics for a few. But I believe that the Akashic records, the experiences, there's room for new experiences, there's room for new words. I myself recently have had an experience with reality where I tried to get Bing to illustrate what a concept it thinks what a cyclotopus would look like. The word doesn't exist, right? And the concept doesn't exist. So no matter how much it's searched, I see it as it's searching reality for that concept, and it couldn't get it. It tried and it would just come up with like weird variations of octopuses with just one little eye. Just none of them were on point. And keeping that concept in my mind, which like probably no one never thought to ask and it never really came up, who knows, maybe, right? It didn't take like something like 3 or 4 days where I saw an image online showing me a man manifesting a psych that's basically the same thing out of this wellspring of energy, which is like, it's like a metaphoric message, and I interpret my entire reality metaphorically. So let's also preface with that, right? um it's just like different levels of functioning. So I truly believe that, like I said, all is mind, all is energy. I truly believe that having that concept in mind, sort of put it out there into the void. Let's say it's string forward into the future or wherever, because I think time expands out of you. You don't go through time, nor does time go through you. Time, the concept of time expands out from you. That's how I kind of perceive it. Maybe later on we'll get into stuff like that also. Um, but again, like I said, I feel like the concept got out there, and being once it's out there in the ether now, there's a record of it. So now that you put it out there, and who knows, it took us split second maybe or 2 3 days, but once it's out there now, then you all of a sudden now you could start seeing manifestations of it everywhere. So there's a lot of things, there's a lot of like these ideas and this concept like I want to talk about too as we go later on down the line in this. Yeah, so but then again, like I said, just the first step, just to put this video out there, get this started. I had it as like the Beyond Truman show. I'm just gonna just do it Beyond Truman, cause that's how I like, literally that's how I feel basically. And I feel like there's eyes on me watching me every time. Like it's weird. We're gonna get into so many things, you know. Plus, I'm interested in DJing, so I want to like showcase my DJ journey. If that takes off into its own thing, who knows? There's so many channels on there about DJing. And I don't want to do no specialty channels or nothing. Like I said, it's just like a vlog. Just document how these little niches, how I grow, how I change the life around, come to something else, and just look back on this and say like, this is where it started. This is where it started. It was grounded in this principle, this concept of reality. It was grounded in this, and through this principle, and viewing ourselves from this perspective as the sole source and responsibility for our reality. No one else or nothing else is but us, and taking that concept and walking with it and just turning this whole paradigm around. Our individual paradigm, just turning it around in the span of, who knows, 4 years, 3 years. Let's see where it goes. Okay? Journey.